Welcome back to the channel, y'all. Man, we got Frank Sinatra this time. Another legend. Frank Sinatra, I know that he was like in the mob, or like down with the mob, or something, like maybe not in it, but he was around them. I know that a lot of his music was like Vegas based, like Las Vegas, right? So I know in like certain TV shows and movies, anytime they have like a Las Vegas scene or a movie that's, you know, surrounded by like, you know, Las Vegas, like it's about Las Vegas, they usually have like a song playing that has Frank Sinatra. I can't name any of his songs, give you a lyric, and I can't really hum a melody of any of his songs, which I'm really good with remembering songs and getting familiar with songs by remembering the melody of the song. I can't do that with Frank Sinatra, but what I can do is I can quickly identify his voice. He has a very like unique voice. What else did I hear about him? He was in the mob, great singer. Oh, he was real good with the ladies. He was the man. He was the man. Oh, and he was a very dangerous man. He wasn't to be played with. He'll get you hurt out here. He's with the mob, so he got people, right? So that's all I know about Frank, but let's see if we can learn a little bit more, or if I was accurate in some of the things that I learned about him.
Everyone knows that Frank Sinatra will always be a legend. Ever since his heyday in the mid-20th century, Old Blue Eyes has captured the hearts of music lovers around the world. But few people realize just how tragic his life really was. This is the real-life story of Frank Sinatra. During his birth, Francis Albert Sinatra was almost ruled dead on arrival. Born on December 12, 1915, in the kitchen of his parents' New Jersey apartment, Sinatra weighed 13.5 pounds at birth and had to be removed from the womb with forceps. Frank was originally thought to be stillborn as he was blue and not breathing. While the doctor was treating his mother, Frank's grandmother took the seemingly dead infant, ran him under cold water, and slapped him on the back, which suddenly revived him.
Come on now.
And the mishaps didn't end there.
Granny said, not my grandson. Nope, my grandson is going to live, okay? Come on, Grandma. But 13 pounds is crazy for a baby. Wow, it's a big child.
Frank was actually supposed to be given the first name Martin after his father, but a misunderstanding led the priest to baptize the baby after his godfather, Frank Garrick. Frank's mother, probably a little exhausted by this point, decided to leave it alone and keep the name as it was. The forceps used during Frank's birth left him with a facial scarring on the left side of his face, neck, and jawline. This led him to receive the punishing nickname of Scarface from his peers in adolescence. During his singing career, Frank would endeavor to hide his facial imperfections with heavy makeup. In spite of his talent, Frank Sinatra actually had to grapple with loneliness during his childhood. Frank was the only child of Italian immigrants who were both very active and prominent in their Hoboken neighborhood. His father, Antonio Martino, or Marty, owned a local tavern and was a part-time prize fighter. Frank's mother, Dolly, was a midwife who often helped desperate women to obtain illegal abortions. Dolly was also involved in local politics and was elected Democratic ward leader in their neighborhood. His parents' work and activities meant they were often away, so young Frank was usually left on his own or with his grandmother. Most children in Frank's predominantly Italian neighborhood came from large families, while he grew up an only child, which was considered highly unusual at the time. In a later interview with journalist Pete Hamill, Sinatra admitted that he longed for a sibling when he was a child, saying, "I used to wish I had an older brother that could help me when I needed him. I wished I had a younger sister I could protect." Sinatra didn't find it easy achieving the fame and success that he craved when he was young. His parents weren't entirely supportive of his desire to be a professional singer, viewing it only as a hobby. Instead, Marty wanted his son to attend the Stevens Institute of Technology and have a steady job. However, once Dolly Sinatra understood her son's talent and ambition, she tried to help him wherever she could, from buying him sound equipment and sheet music to using her political connections to secure singing gigs for him. Dolly's pull even landed Frank a spot with the local singing group, the Hoboken Four, which started him on the path of professional recognition. It soon became obvious, however, that Sinatra was the only one of the group with genuine ambition and drive, and once the Hoboken Four broke up, Frank started to wait tables in between his singing gigs with local dance bands. After landing a solid gig with trumpeter Harry James, Frank's biggest break came in 1940 when he was discovered by renowned band leader Tommy Dorsey, who offered him a much more lucrative contract. By 1942, Sinatra's reputation even eclipsed Dorsey's, which prompted him to seek out a solo singing career. Bing Crosby was Frank Sinatra's greatest inspiration for becoming a professional singer. A huge fan of the celebrity crooner, the teenage Frank even had a picture of Crosby hanging in his bedroom. Crosby's warm, passionate, but laid-back singing technique was the foundation that Frank built on, until he could develop his own unique style. Frank even met his idol briefly in 1935 at a Newark club, but they wouldn't meet again for nearly a decade when Frank was a huge star in his own right. By the time the 1940s rolled around, Crosby was still popular, but Sinatra's fame was skyrocketing. Bing had fans, but he was never greeted by the hordes of screaming, swooning teenage Bobby Soxer girls that made up Sinatra's fan base. Crosby took Frank's rising popularity in stride, however, once saying,
what does that even mean? What, Bobby Soxer girls? What does that mean? Somebody get in the comment section and tell me what does that mean?
That Sinatra was a singer that comes around once in a lifetime, and jokingly added, "But why did it have to be my lifetime?" After that, a media-driven rivalry was born. The two competing crooners would frequently trade barbs and insults at each other on public radio broadcasts. The rivalry was played up for media attention, but it was never really serious. Later, they would perform duets together and co-star in movies such as 1956's High Society. Frank Sinatra didn't mind a good-natured rivalry with Bing Crosby, but he felt highly intimidated by any new singers who could potentially knock him off his pedestal. In the early 1950s, singer Eddie Fisher was on the rise, and this caused Sinatra to spiral into a deep depression, believing that his career was over. Another time Sinatra's fame came under threat was from a singer named Jimmy Roselli, who was also known as, quote, the other Sinatra. Roselli was 10 years younger than Sinatra, an Italian-American, and grew up in the same neighborhood of Hoboken. Roselli was also incredibly popular with the Italian-American crowd, even with Frank Sinatra's friends and his own mother, Dolly. Roselli's voice had an even greater range than Sinatra's, too. When Dolly Sinatra asked Jimmy Roselli to perform at a benefit but Roselli refused to sing without receiving a fee, Sinatra used this as an excuse to blackball Roselli's career. Although he always refuted it, Frank Sinatra absolutely...
So, wait. Here it is, right? This is the man who everyone is saying your son, this is his direct competition. This is the person that everyone is saying is the new version of your son. This person can destroy your son's career, and you got the nerve to hire this man for a charity event. Mama, I love you, but you tripping. And the blackball the guy, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's hating to a whole nother level. Cause he, like they said, that was just an excuse because he been wanting to blackball the man. Cause there's no way. Like, come on, you a newer version of me. I got to get you out the way.
Lee had ties to the mob. In fact, Sinatra's FBI profile reads like a guidebook to the mafia. Sinatra was known to be good friends with the infamous Chicago mob boss, Sam Giancana, and his crew. He outwardly socialized with the Fischetti brothers, Joseph and Charles, who were known to conduct illegal gambling operations. He blatantly partied with Detroit mobsters Anthony and Vito Giacalone. If Sinatra ever needed to get out of a contract or was simply ticked off about a perceived insult, someone could expect to get a visit from a couple of goons, visits that might or might not end with violence. In return, Frank would often perform a few shows as favors for his mob buddies. For all of Sinatra's denials of his mafia ties, he didn't do much to conceal who his friends were or his participation in their preferred activities, namely gambling, women, and money.
I don't do those things to have anybody follow me in doing that same thing, is what I mean.
The FBI kept a close eye on Sinatra, but he was never charged criminally for his mob-related activities or associations. Sinatra's full FBI record wasn't released until after his death. Sinatra was an ardent supporter.
See, that was before the RICO Act. Now, if they even catch you around them, hanging around, you'll be a part of that RICO indictment. See, that was all before the RICO Act. You can hang around the mob, and if they couldn't catch you directly doing something, they probably couldn't charge you with anything. Yep, it's different nowadays.
Supporter of the Democratic Party, most notably John F. Kennedy. It's unknown how the two officially met, but Kennedy's sister Pat was married to Sinatra's fellow Rat Packer Peter Lawford. Kennedy appreciated Sinatra's glamour and rule-breaking attitude, and Sinatra greatly admired the power that Kennedy represented. When JFK announced his bid for the presidency, Sinatra publicly endorsed his candidacy and avidly used his star power to generate votes. He organized donor dinners, appeared in political radio ads, and lent Kennedy aides his private jet. His hit song High Hopes even became the theme song of the Kennedy campaign. It has been speculated that JFK's father, Joseph Kennedy, was hoping to use Sinatra's mob connections and union ties to bring in the votes. However, the Kennedy-Sinatra friendship crumbled shortly after the election when an FBI wiretap revealed that Sinatra was having an affair with JFK's married sister, Pat. Sinatra made it clear on the recordings that he was only using Pat to influence her brothers and steer the government away from his gangster friend's activities.
Wait, hold on, wait. Wait. So hold on. The Rat Pack, wasn't he down with the Rat Pack? So isn't that his group member's wife? That's a bad man. So you slept with your group member's wife? It's just a whole bunch of mess.
But the Kennedys agreed that Sinatra had to go. Despite all that romantic crooning, Frank Sinatra was known to have an extremely short fuse.
Do you think your boiling point is low? Not anymore. It used to be.
Once, during a show in Hong Kong, a missed light cue prompted him to destroy his dressing room and his hotel suite, breaking priceless antiques. Another time, while in a drunken rage, he drove a golf cart through a shopping mall window. J. Randy Taraborelli's biography, Sinatra, Behind the Legend, details how the singer once threw a plate of pasta at the wall in an Italian restaurant because he deemed it too soggy. Old Blue Eyes also had a habit of bullying venue employees and less famous entertainers, and getting his mob friends to beat up people he didn't like. He seemed to have a particular dislike for stand-up comedians, probably due to his many insecurities and fears of being publicly humiliated. Comic Shecky Green once made a remark that angered Sinatra, and Green was later mobbed by a group of Sinatra's friends. Comedian Jackie Mason made a series of jokes about the much older Frank Sinatra's marriage to 21-year-old Mia Farrow, which resulted in the comic receiving anonymous death threats. When Mason refused to stop making Frank Sinatra jokes, shots were fired into his hotel room. He later had his nose and cheekbones broken by a complete stranger. Out of his 3 children, Frank Sinatra had one son, Frank Jr., who had ambitions to become a singer like his father. His career was already budding at the age of 19. However, Frank Jr. also started attracting more malicious attention. According to the FBI, on December 8, 1963, Sinatra Jr. was performing a gig at Harrah's Club Lodge in Lake Tahoe. He was in his dressing room with a friend when someone knocked on the door, claiming to have a package to deliver.
That's crazy. His son
Instead,
is older than my dad.
2 men entered, tied up and blindfolded the friend, and then forced the singer out a side door and into a waiting car. The friend was able to free himself and notify the police. The kidnappers contacted the elder Sinatra and demanded a ransom of $240,000 for his son's safe return. With the FBI's help, Sinatra Sr. paid the ransom and allowed the police to track down the kidnappers. After some trepidation on the part of the kidnappers, one of them eventually decided to free Sinatra Jr., whom the police found in Bel Air after he had been walking for miles. The FBI later apprehended the 3 kidnappers and recovered the ransom money.
I was scared, I was a little bit nervous naturally, but the only thing I could do was hope for the best.
The kidnappers' defense tried to paint Sinatra Jr. as the perpetrator, claiming he masterminded his own abduction for publicity. The FBI's evidence proved contradictory to this claim, and all 3 kidnappers were convicted. Frank Sinatra died of a heart attack at the age of 82 on May 14, 1998, at Los Angeles' Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. His wife, Barbara Marx, and his 3 children were at his bedside.
He lived life.
Sinatra's last remaining years were filled with significant health problems such as heart and breathing problems, high blood pressure, pneumonia, and bladder cancer. He had also been diagnosed with dementia brought on by Alzheimer's. As the end approached, Sinatra seemed to recognize that his time had arrived, as his last words to his wife were, "I'm losing." Sinatra was buried with a pack of Camel cigarettes, a bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey, a Zippo lighter, and $1 worth of dimes. In a Rolling Stone interview, singer Bono of U2 spoke on the death of Sinatra, with whom he once performed a duet, and the loss of an iconic performer. He said, "Frank Sinatra was the 20th century. He was modern, he was complex, he had swing and he had attitude. He was the boss, but he was always Frank Sinatra. We won't see his like again."
What did I learn, man? Everything that I thought about the man was true. The mobster allegations, that he wasn't to be messed with. He was, he would really get you hurt out here. He was a ladies' man. But yeah, man, Frank Sinatra, I definitely do plan on reacting to some of his music. I don't know, guys. Frank Sinatra, man. What other legend would y'all like me to react to? So we got Marilyn Monroe. We got Frank Sinatra. There's so many other people I want to learn about. I do want to kind of like be careful about the copyrights and stuff like that, but for sure I do want to like watch some more documentaries with you guys. So if you guys enjoyed this one and the last one, let me know in the comment section below. It's something new that I'm trying to do here on this channel. Try to break up the whole music stuff, but so I can learn a little bit more about these guys that I react to. So thank you everybody for watching the video. Subscribe, like, comment. I will catch you guys on the next one. It's Alex. Peace.